here we are with Susan Guy, who is part of the Ojai studio artist, and visiting her studio outdoors, which is very appropriate because actually Susan Guy is really a pure plein air painter, and she only paints outdoors in plein air. And some of her paintings are around. They are very faux, very expressionistic. But I'm mostly interested in getting a few words in with Susan about how she feels when she paints.
Well, for me, painting is kind of a release of emotions, so I don't really plan much when I go paint. I just find somewhere that I really feel connected to
Yeah.
and is beautiful. And I
Yeah.
just get out there and paint, and expressionistic is a good way to term it, I think.
Yeah.
And when I'm painting, it's almost like a meditative process. We can.
Shall we turn this down a little bit? Thank you. All right. Go for
So
it. Go for
it's,
it.
it's almost like a meditative process, just getting out there and trying to feel what it's like.
Yeah.
So they're not really meant to be representational. They're meant more to express how I'm feeling, and it's an interplay between me and the moment and the location. And so there might be movement in the painting trying to portray the wind or whatever's happening, but it's more something that develops over time after getting to know a place. So often I'll paint a place that I'm quite familiar with because I've been there, many times, and I visit it. So Ojai is one of my favorite places to paint. This is Thatcher School here, and things appear when I don't really think too much or
Yes.
plan too much
Yes.
as I paint. So in this one, even though this is Thatcher School in the Gymkhana field here,
Oh,
it's,
yes.
yeah, it's also called Narcissus Feld Phoenix, and it has some images that appeared in the paintings. Right here you can see the narcissus, and it's taken down a phoenix. So the phoenix is here with the eye
Yeah.
and the beak, and then the wings coming up off the side.
I see it
So,
now.
and there's some figures in the sky as well. So if you look more closely at some of the paintings, there are actually some other different things in them. And to the extent where sometimes I don't actually recognize them myself, and other people will spot them, and then I enhance them.
That's
So,
wonderful.
yeah.
That's wonderful.
So it's kind of a gateway to my own unconscious, and then sort of the collective energy of the mountains around. And
Right.
I do feel much more connected to nature when I'm painting. Yeah.
Yeah, your work reflects very much that natural energy, but I should say the energy of nature. And it always seems to blow with a wind. I've noticed this in your work. There's always a sense of something blowing through, whether it's the wind or the water. Something is always moving,
Or an idea or an emotion.
an emotion.
Right.
Something
So
is
it's not
always
necessarily a physical thing.
moving.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a very, very appealing that way. The work is not static. And I know that people will project all kinds of
Exactly.
ideas,
Yeah.
and your work is very open that way, and that's part of what I like about it, personally. That one can go into and find their own dreams
Yes.
into what you feel when you paint.
Exactly. Yes, they are almost dreamscapes,
Yeah.
because they are painted in a pretty meditative state.
Yeah.
But I have also noticed that I do see colors a bit differently than other people. So
How so?
Well, ever since I was young, when I looked at things, I see multiple colors at once. I don't just see one color, and I'll check it with other people, and I might be seeing a hillside that has green and orange complementary colors visible to me at the same time, and they flick back and forth. And so sometimes you can see that in some of the paintings. For instance, this one back here, I try to represent the fact that there's green and blue and orange in the mountains that I see. And this one also has some images in it. There's some different archetypal animal type of images, especially birds up in here that
Yes.
represent Sophia. So yeah, it's an amalgamation of many different processes at once.
You were mentioning before something about the horse image
Yes, there's
and
a
the
horse
bird.
image.
Would
Yes.
you care to
Sure. There's so Maria Gambutis was an anthropologist that her archives are at Pacifica, and I was very inspired by her images, looking at a lot of Neolithic goddess images, and so this painting in particular has some of those in them. There's some horses and some other female motifs in here, and then up in the sky are some bird and wing images as well. Yeah, and if you look at a lot of my paintings have them in there, and more are shapes for people to read their own self into the work as well. Yeah.
Well, thank you so
You're
much
very
for
welcome. Yeah.
welcoming me into your studio today on this
Absolutely.
very hot day.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming.